Hi all, here we are, and we've made it into wave 20 of Attack Wing, and this time I decided not to start with a Federation ship as I usually do, but instead to start with the Kazon Halik Raider. It's the second Kazon ship that we've had from Attack Wing. And it's a pretty standard Raider. I'm a bit disappointed that they haven't done a Predator class, which is the larger one, the larger Kazon ship yet, but we've got the Raider again, which means at least you've got two ships if you're just buying the retail ones to form your own little faction. A bit of a shame because you will have only two ships, so it might be a little one-sided if you're playing a 200-point game. So as to the model, it's pretty decent. It's a good finish. It's a fairly accurate colour. If you talk about it in simple terms, the detail on it is really nice. There's a lot of paneling on there, a lot of angles, a lot of different surface levels. So overall, not a bad job that they've done with the ship. It's not one that I kind of immediately go, oh yeah, it's one of the best ones. But it's a very unique design, and really only something we saw from the Kazon with that sort of drop front that was kind of a feature of all of their ships. But yeah, I really like it. It's a nice little miniature. I'm not sure how much this is going to get played unless I make up some sort of independent faction and put this one in there, because for me this is the only one I've got of the Kazon. However, it's pretty decent. It's pretty nice. I like it. And it's a nice colour, and it's not that flipping translucent green that we had on the Talvath, or translucent something else that we had on whatever, Bird of Prey or D7 or whatever. So yeah, nice one. Nice miniature. And also, if you notice on this one, it's got a full 180-degree forward firing arc, which is really impressive. So there's a lot of room here, a lot of opportunity for kicking some opposition with that huge 180 arc that you've got off the front of this ship. So without further ado, let's crack on with the Halik Raider itself. So as we can see from the ship in the stand, it does have an attack of 2, a defense of 2, a hull of 3, and a shield of 3. You get 2 crew options, 2 weapon options on there as well for your 20 points. And you come with the evade, the target lock, and the battle stations features as your standard options. Of course, the Halik Raider is the unique one from the Kazon Raiders, and you can have it as a Kazon starship, in which case you will lose one of your weapon upgrades, one of your shields, taking you down to, unsurprisingly, 18 points. If we're looking at this as a unique feature, when defending during the roll defense dice step, you can disable one of your active shields to gain 2 defense dice for that attack. So it's another one where we are getting a lot more defensive power. Oddly enough, you've already got 2 die on this one for your defense, so you're doubling that up to a 4. You're not gaining any auxiliary power tokens from doing that defensive move as well, which is really nice. So for once, you don't end up getting one of those sucked onto your ship, but you are going to lose an active shield. So it's one of these things that you're only going to be able to use when you've got shields up or when you've repaired your shields. So it's not something that's going to be used probably throughout the game, maybe in the early stages to give you that initial advantage. As I said, the standard version of the ship loses a shield, loses one of your weapon options. Movement wise, it's pretty decent. It's another forward of a speed of 4, a full range of moves at 3, although you are going to incur the auxiliary power token for a 3 sharp right and sharp left, plus that come about 180 is going to incur you that auxiliary power token. You've got some green maneuvers at the 2 and all the 1s, and you've got a full range, almost full range of maneuver at 2. So it's got a lot of room to play with. If you're not worried about incurring auxiliary power tokens. If you are kind of restricted really to doing a lot of stuff around that range 2. So your speed is going to be quite severely reduced. It's going to keep you quite close to your opposition if you're not one that likes to play auxiliary power tokens, which, to be honest, I don't. So I end up taking a risk and running a major major offensive at some points. You have 2 captain options. You have Grumpy Generic version 1, which is just Grumpy Generic Kazon version 1 for 0 points, and you have Surat. So this is kind of based around the Alliances episode of Voyager, from their second season, and Surat was the captain from the Kazon Halik, who we've got here. So he has a captain's skill of 5, so mid-table, and a cost of just 3 points. He allows you to place a scan token beside your ship. If you don't have a tech upgrade deployed, you do incur a auxiliary power token. So it's a bit of a nice little twist that if you don't have any tech upgrades, which you wouldn't with the Raider if you're playing it off the standard actions, because it's got 2 crew and 2 weapons, you're going to end up with an auxiliary power token on this one. Interestingly, it is another one where gaining a scan token, as we saw with the Talvath in Wave 19, where it didn't have a scan feature. This is allowing you to use a scan feature from the captain's perspective, which is pretty cool. And so he gives you a few options there, so he's pretty decent. I quite like Surat. He's not expensive and does give you at least something you can do with your ship, which is pretty cool. Let's have a look at the crew options with this one. You get 2. It's not the biggest card pack on the planet, this one, I have to admit. You get 2 cards with it, which is Kazon Guard and Lorum, who's a crew. So we'll look at Kazon Guard first. It is a card that you can only use one of on each ship, which they should have just made it. Well, I suppose that means why you couldn't make it unique, because you can have it in different ships. During the activation phase, you can discard the card for 4 points to place an evade token beside your ship, even if there is already one there. So as a standard action, you can use evade, so you can end up with 2 evades on there, but you will incur an auxiliary power token. Pretty standard feature. Seen this on a lot of ships where you can double up on battle stations, you can double up on evades, you can double up on evade battle stations, and I'm trying to think of the other one, but it'll come to me in a bit. So it's not really an unusual feature, but it is good for the ship to have the option of a little bit more escape, seeing as you only have a 2 attack and a 2 defense to play with. Moving over to Lorum. So Lorum is a 4-point crew, so he's the same as the Kazon Guard. When attacking with your primary weapon during the roll attack dice step, instead of rolling your normal number of attack dice, which would be 2 if you're using the Kazon Raider, you can discard the card to roll number of attack dice equivalent to the SP, so that's squadron points, cost of 1 upgrade on the target ship, maximum of 4. So you can actually look at what your opposition is doing, discard the card, and roll their maximum points and upgrade. So imagine if you've got something like they've got transphasic shields or quantum torpedoes, you're going to be rolling sort of 5 points plus potentially up to, I would suspect, about 8 points or even 10 points, depending on what they've got. I know there are some 10-point upgrades out there, particularly if you've got things like the Borg. So you could really, really benefit from this and really have an absolutely killer, a real killer attack if you... Oh, actually, no, sorry. I'm going to take that back because I've just read the card properly. So you can go up to a 4. It's a shame because, you could go up to a 10, theoretically. But, yeah, this is only going to take you up to a 4. I need to read these cards properly sometimes. That'll give you at least double the points on your attack, which is a pretty decent little card for 4 points. Let's move on to your 3 weapon options. You start off with a 2-point option, which is variable yield charges. So when attacking with one of your photonic charge upgrades, which we will come to shortly, which is this one, during the attack roll attack dice step, you can disable this card to gain 1 attack dice for that attack. If you do so, place an auxiliary power token on your ship. So this one is going to be used in conjunction with photonic charges, where it's a time token. It's effectively photon torpedoes, but at a lower yield. So instead of using the sort of 5 dice you'd use for photon torpedoes, you use 3 at range 1 to 2. Auxiliary power token goes beside the target ship if you've got at least 1 uncancelled damage or critical damage result. But what you can do is you can then use this. You can disable this variable yields card. So effectively you've got a 5-point upgrade here. 5-point cost on an upgrade of a 3 and a 2. There we go, 2 and a 3. And you can then make this attack into a 4-point attack. So it'd be 4 points at range 1 to 2, which will double your attack off the ship. But it will incur you an auxiliary power token. So there is a benefit of using that. It's only a disable as well. So you can disable that, re-enable it, and you've got time tokens on this one, so you haven't got to worry about trying to re-enable both of them the same way, which is really nice. And it does mean you can effectively upgrade with the ship. So photonic charges does give you that option. Remember that this ship hasn't got a rearward firing arc, it's only got a forward firing arc, so it will increase your primary attack by 1 initially. You can obviously double it up and make it into a 4-point attack by using variable yield charges. Your final one is the aft torpedo launcher. And this kind of comes back to the fact this hasn't actually got a rearward firing arc officially. So with it, you can use target lock, pop your time tokens on it. It's a 4-point attack, so it's the same as if you were using the variable yield charge and the photonic charges, but they do have the advantage that they're going to incur an auxiliary power token for your enemy if you've got at least one uncancelled point. But with this one, you can fire it at a ship that's not in your forward firing arc. So you've got effectively a full 360 range with this one if you're using this aft torpedo launch off your back. So you've got a whole rear section to fire this from. So you've got a very, very big firing arc. So it means basically anything that's at range 2 or 3, you've got a clear line of sight to at any point during the game, because you're going to have this aft torpedo launch. So I'd say this is a pretty essential upgrade. It's only 3 points as well, and it's not a discard, and it's going to mean that you use time tokens just to reactivate it after 3 goes. So I think this is a really key card to have, particularly on a ship that's not got a rear firing arc, because of what it's going to be able to do for you. The final card is a really unusual one, and it's really great that they've kind of recognised a piece of dialogue from Mortal Coil, from Voyager, which was to do with the fact that the Borg don't see the Kazon as a particularly interesting species and would just wipe them out rather than assimilating them. The great thing with this is that you can't deploy on a Borg ship, because what it does, it means that the upgrades on your ship can't be targeted by the Borg. So if you're carrying Kazon upgrades on your ship, they can't be targeted. And if you defend against a Borg ship, you roll an extra 2 defense dice against the Borg. So you would effectively roll 4 defense dice if you're a Kazon against the Borg, which is really cool. And it means that this species actually has something that is pretty decent about it, and a little bit of a twist. So I really like it. The fact that it doesn't require an upgrade slot to be deployed, so you can just stick it on your ship. It's still going to cost you 5 points, as you can see there. You got that 5-point score, but this is going to give you so much more options against the Borg, because it's a really neat little piece to add in, and something that nobody else has. I still think with 4 defense dice against the Borg, you'll get absolutely annihilated anyway at some point, because I don't think this is strong enough a ship or a faction to even come close to putting up a defense. But it's an interesting little twist that they've put in there and giving you something that makes them a little bit more playable. Finally up is your mission, which is Renara 4, again based off the Alliance's that's our Kazon arc that we had in Voyager's 2nd season. It's a 2-player game using the pilot token, the objective token, and 3 mission tokens, and it's effectively you are playing a little bit of a converted 2-player game where you've got the Kazon Nistrum ships, including a Federation ship. So they're looking at it from the point of view of basics. Apologies. In which the Kazon Nistrum stole Voyager, and then you were using it to attack other Kazon sects. So this is effectively what you've got here. You've got the Kazon Halik defending, and the Halik then you win if you destroy all the ships controlled by the Kazon Nistrum, and alternatively the Nistrum wins if you destroy the colony on Renara 4, which is the planet in the centre here. So it's a little bit different. You aren't starting off as a standard 2-player formation. You're starting off with one faction actually in the orbit of the planet. I haven't played this one yet, but I'm really fancying having a go at this one, because it has got a little slight twist to it. And I do like them when they have a little bit of a difference to play. So yeah, an interesting pack. I may have cocked up and said that it was all to do with alliances, but actually I think some of it is to do with basics as well, which was the 2-part from the finale of Voyager 2nd season. But again, it is focusing on that Kazon arc. What I'll do just to finish off is just pop the, as we always do, pop the captain's tokens in there, so you get to see it as it would be played in the game. And they have the Kazon Halik Raider, complete with Surat. There is 5-pointer on there. Nice ship, interesting upgrades. Not sure how much this is going to get played by myself, but let me know if it's one of those that you'll be popping into your fleet, and how you intend to kind of use it. To give me some hints. I'll talk to you soon, and as usual, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to hear more, please subscribe, and we will be bringing you more Attack Wing very soon.
Transfer complete.